Yo, Eldon here, getting back into that Metta Meal in an attempt to be rigorously honest, to be heartfelt, to be free and expressive, and provide myself and the audience an opportunity to simply be. I've talked already about this difference between human doing and human being, and it's in this space here and now, in this present moment, for me, that I get to bridge that gap between doing and being. Because don't get me wrong, I love doing, but if I don't love being, that doing will inevitably lead to misery, discontentment, irritation, anger, dissatisfaction, depression, and anxiety. So it's important to get grounded in the being. That's why I make that effort to start out this space with some breathing, with some oming, with some mantras, so that I can be present, I can be here in the heart space. And I'd say since the last time I did a recording, when was that? That was yesterday morning. I had a rough day after that. I was wallowing in self-pity. I wasn't reaching out to anybody. I thought I could just take care of myself, by myself, for myself, knowing full well that the only remedy for me at that time was to reach out to somebody. And eventually I did, many hours after the inception of those negative feelings. And I felt better, and the day started to unfold in an exciting way, in unexpected ways, and I allowed myself to go with the flow, to say yes to certain opportunities, and to be present. Because it's hard to be present when I'm dissatisfied. I want to escape that feeling. I'd rather be feeling good and heartfelt and not so much in my mind. And maybe there was a thought at some point to lean into it. And that's progress for me, because I'd go weeks, months, years without leaning into the negative feelings. Maybe it was, let me tell you, I went to the sports center in Whistler. I live in Pemberton, so about a 25-minute drive for me, and it's always worth going. I've been doing it since I was a kid. My dad's been doing it since he moved to Whistler, and so we've been going with him for as long as I could remember. And it was Sunday, gym's closed here in Pemberton, and I knew I should get a workout in. I knew I should get into the sauna and sweat out some toxins, and took a bit of coaxing, and finally I did get to Meadow Park. And after a workout and during some sauna meditation, in and out of the sauna, I was meditating with my hands up, and I was imagining strings of energy climbing upward, kind of like a vine, both hands. And then I was imagining a rope drawing from my head upwards, and then all of these things essentially coiling up together. What inspired that was watching the smoke of some incense I was burning And maybe I talked about this before, but I've always been in such admiration of this shape of smoke. And with the longer incense sticks, at times it goes straight up, and then maybe there's a little bit of a vibration, some airflow coming through, and all of a sudden it starts kind of spiraling in these very, very cool, like wave-like fractal patterns. And so I was imagining this energy drawing from my hands and from my head upward, as similarly to that smoke. And it felt like I was being tethered, and perhaps in a similar fashion, maybe less visual, but with gravity, kind of being drawn down into the earth. And so in meditation, I'm feeling this pull into the earth and this pull into the stars, and just being tethered both ways, and what's the word? It's like being fixated in space right there. And I felt like a cocoon for a second, and I felt that, oh, this body, this life, this identity is nothing but a spiritual cocoon. And there's peace and serenity in that thought. Fast forward a little bit to last night, and in one of my dreams, it's like I saw the outline of a person, though not quite an outline, but for example, as if there was an outline, around me, and then kind of like filled in with, maybe the organs and other lines, but instead of just raw lines, there was like words. Kind of similar to, I'm sure people have seen diagrams, and maybe the main topic is mental health. And so, there's going to be so many emotions identified in word form in various sizes. Obviously, the bigger ones are the most popular, happiness, depression, anxiety, and then you get into the nitty-gritty: apathy, serenity, etc. And then there's this moment of realizing, because I've been practicing a little bit of comedy, I've been writing down all these really terrible dad jokes, the kind of jokes that typically make people groan. I mean, I think it kind of goes 50-50. I think I get more laughter than I do groans. And I love both reactions. And to be honest, I think I like the groans a little bit more. For example, here's one. A friend recently asked me to pick between coniferous trees and deciduous trees. And it was really difficult to make a choice. I guess you could say I just couldn't make a deciduan. So along those lines, and it doesn't get any better. But that being said, seeing this outline of words, there's this realization in my dream that this life that I live, that I perceive, is this divine comedy. It's this giant joke. There's like infinite tiny jokes cascading on one another, and there's progress throughout it all. It's this giant setup for, that grand finale of a punchline. And waking up with that thought and sharing that dream and that meditative state, it brings me this acceptance of the moment. And if I could have a bad day like yesterday, which really isn't that bad of a day, it was still productive, I still took good care of myself, and but just feeling low. I was just feeling low, and like all of my own doing. Father's Day too, and my dad was hard to reach. he's a farmer and he lives up the valley, and they don't got good cell service up there. And honestly, to get a hold of my dad, I just have to spam call him, and it's like sending texts to your ex-girlfriend just over and over again, or receiving them, and not a good look. But it's my dad. He loves me nonetheless, and so I could get away with that a little bit. And yeah, totally don't remember what I was saying. I guess serenity, acceptance of this divine comedy. It just feels good. It gives me a new perspective on embracing the moment and being present, and enforcing or emphasizing this idea that I'm exactly in the right place at exactly the right time. Because if it's just this big setup for this grand finale punchline, and of course each day, it's its own setup, it has its own punchline, and you could look at the week in a similar light, or the month, or the year, or the hour, or the moment, and it just helps me be present. I get to be tethered up and down into the heavens, into the earth, and I'm exactly where I'm meant to be, and it feels great, and I feel good. And even when I'm feeling bad, I'm like, oh, well, it's a setup for tomorrow, or a setup for this evening. And there's never a point in the day that I can't restart and enjoy myself, and I can't enjoy what the present moment has to offer. I can look at this gentleman walking by, and, there's like a little worry. Does he know me? Is he going to start talking to me? Oh, I don't want to cut this recording. I feel like I'm getting somewhere. But he just looked, probably smiled. I'm not wearing my glasses, so I can't see that far. But I think there's like a bit of a nod of approval. So it's been a good day. I've been feeling connected. So if I can't feel connected to a power greater than myself, maybe I could feel a little bit more connected to this idea of a divine comedy. And I guess I'll finish with this. Another mantra that I use is, the more magic I notice, the more magic life becomes. And it could be as easy as taking note of this gentleman walking by, looking at the willow tree. Really, at its core, it's gratitude. But instead of just seeing something, flash through my perception, flash through my consciousness, I get to align myself with it in gratitude. I am grateful for this guy walking by. I'm grateful for this willow tree. And then I get to add another layer to it, and I'm grateful for the magic of this stranger walking by. I'm grateful for the magic of bearing witness to this beautiful willow tree, and I get to do it here in my hometown of Pemberton, and it's just been a beautiful day, and I'm feeling good. And yeah, that's about where I'm at. And I want to know where you're at. Has this been helping? Does it make sense? Do you feel it? Does it just sound like a bunch of woo-woo? Regardless, it feels good. It feels good to be here, and it feels good to be here with the intention of sharing right here with you. So with that, God bless you, and enjoy this beautiful moment any time of day, wherever you are, whoever you are, whatever you've been feeling. And yeah, just try that little gratitude practice. I'm grateful for what I'm feeling right now. I am grateful for the magic of what I'm feeling right now. And even if you just say it without believing it, don't really matter. Don't really matter, because we could think greater than we feel. A little Joe Dispenza for you. And then we get to define ourselves by a vision of the future rather than a memory of the past. Love you guys. Thanks for tuning in. And we'll catch you next time. Peace.